Board of Finance meeting for June 15th, 2023 at 7:02 PM. It's called to order. I'm, for obvious reasons, going to ask, out of the kindness of his heart, for Jeff Krushak to chair the meeting as board chair, since I'm dealing with the board vice chair, since I'm dealing with laryngitis.
Okay, so
Thanks, Jeff.
seeing as you're reclaimed there, see, we're all here. Joe's online. Jim, is Lisa here too? We don't need to see any alternates. Lisa's on.
I don't know if she made, I did ask her.
Moving forward, we have 3 sets of minutes to approve. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes of March 23rd, 2023.
Second.
Is there discussion? This is a big,
This was appropriations night, so it's a lot of detail. I don't see them, it's from May 18th on my packet.
May.
You said something on March.
March 23rd.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
You got them?
I'm good.
okay, ready to vote or?
Yes.
So we're gonna do a roll call. Peter?
Yes.
Yes. Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
Okay, motion carries. The minutes of April 4th,
Move to accept the minutes of April 4th.
Second.
is there discussion?
this was the budget hearing at Old Town Hall, so.
Hearing none, move to vote.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
that was quick on the uptake, Joe.
Carries. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 18th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I have 2 comments on this one, actually, or just clarification. Under new business, there's a note here saying Christina clarified this is a separate 1 million from the 1 million set aside for school projects. I think that was, the clarification was that was a separate 1 million from the 460,000 already in
I think, yeah,
CIP.
yeah.
So, just one point, and then I want to issue I guess, correction, to a lack of clarity. Updates for old business, item 2B, where a question from you, Peter, related to the school building committee. There's a note here saying I answered that the SBC is an advisory to the Board of Ed, but formed by the EPOS. I think I butchered that in general. It's a separate entity, the SBC, just a clarification that the SBC is an independent entity that collaborates with the Board of Ed, but is appointed by the POS. They're not secondary to it. They're not subjugated to the PDO, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
All right.
That's it.
Else?
That's what I thought all along. So it's I'm, where was that second correction, Jim, exactly on the?
Old Oh, yeah, hold on. I just.
It's-
Old business number 2.
I think it's old
Yeah.
business 2B.
Yeah.
There's a sentence in there somewhere.
At the
It's
bottom,
at the bottom.
Yeah,
Answer
don't line up
that
at the
here.
bottom.
Advisory to the DOE and reform.
Jim, it's during Jim's report, yeah.
They collaborate with the towards an independent goal, towards the common goal, but they're an independent
No, I,
body.
you know, actually for clarification, I don't think I questioned the status of the funds. I questioned what I think I said there was, I didn't think that the Board of Finance had the power to claw those funds back, that they had to be returned. That we couldn't force them back, they had to, the motion had come from the other direction.
All I got on mine. Sorry.
What?
So are you saying, are
So
you?
a comment or?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It basically says we're.
I mean, that is probably accurate to the discussion, the minutes, you should capture the correction, right?
Yeah,
For record, Ms. Augustic.
yeah, because that's the only way we can change the minutes on file. So, you know what, I would appreciate if you and Pete would both send me what you would recommend the wording be for correction.
Sure.
Pete, are you disputing that that's the way it came down, went down at the meeting, or are you saying? You just want to clarify it now.
I didn't question, yeah, I guess I do want to dispute, because I didn't question the status of the funds. I questioned whether we could ask, we could recall them, or whether they had to be sent back.
Yeah, I think it was more, you requested, like, what's the mechanism for?
Right, and the reason for that was because I didn't believe we could claw them back, that we had to wait until the committee dissolved and then they were returned.
Okay, how about if we say the mechanism of returning the funds allotted, just
Great, that
cut
sounds
out the
awesome.
status, yeah.
As amended,
Will the vote as amended?
I,
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
All right.
Yes.
Present speak, public participation is desired and encouraged. Speakers will be limited to time and appropriateness of the comments to maintain progress, stay on topic, and maintain decorum. One. Nick Tello.
Hey, Nick Tello, 49 Myrtle. So it's not my idea, stealing it from somebody else that had talked about the beach situation right now with the expenses being, I think, around $65 or something for a pass. It was thrown around by somebody as in looking into the ARPA money to maybe offset that cost to some of the residents. I know many people have, talked about how that's a steep cost. So I don't know, something that you guys can entertain as far as sending some money over to help that out for the townspeople, especially instead of giving bonuses to elected officials. Thank you.
Anyone else online or on the phone? You guys can. Okay, chairman's report.
yeah,
Uh,
You suffered?
Well, I think I get separate. One of the things is, just to note for the record, that our recording secretary for the last, year plus, Samantha Sperry has resigned effective July 1st. So we are indeed, and I'm saying this to the people on the board, but anyone else in the audience, we will be looking for a replacement for that job. It does involve some work on operating Zoom and capturing the minutes. It's it's got a certain skill set to it to get that accurately and fully. So that we're looking forward to that, and just want to say that she served us well, and she was curious about the processes we're going through, which were pretty new to her when she started. So I value that about her for sure. Very easy to work with. The other thing is we have July 20th meeting on the schedule. Right now, I don't know of any rising issues there. There's nothing, I went back to past July agendas and everything. I'm gonna be out of town to another board member will be out of town too. So I'm not sure if that's something that we want to consider. I just want to put it on the table for you guys to discuss whether that's a meeting that we should cancel, wait and see if something pops up, or but be ready for a potential special meeting because there may be town things that we need to deal with, like an appropriation, in order to go to town meeting for large pieces of equipment or whatever. So are there thoughts about that? Do people feel like
I would wait and see.
wait and see?
Yeah, I think it's good to keep it on the books,
Okay,
but with everyone knowing that there's a good chance it'll get canceled.
okay. That's kind of what I want to do, is raise awareness. And of course, be in touch with Donna about anything that rises up in her area, so. And I think that's it.
Where are we? Old business budget status, financial report, May 2023.
Yes,
Hi, Donna.
thought I would give you a little refresher on the information that's on the financial report that you receive every month. There's three key pieces of information that you can get from the report. First piece is the revenue budget, and that is the budget that was passed compared to the actual as of May 31st. So that's 11 months in, through the fiscal, and the actual numbers are in the third column on the report. The second big piece of information is the expenditure budget compared to the actual through May 31st. And the third piece of information is the change in the fund balance. So at the end of the year, when we close the books, which happens around middle of August, the budget is either going to have an operating surplus or a deficit. If it has an operating surplus, that money gets added to the fund balance that was at the beginning of the year. If it's a deficit, it gets subtracted. So that's just the definition of fund balance. It's an accumulation of time of the operating surpluses and the operating deficits. So this year, I think we are heading for operating surplus. And I think that because the revenues, back to the top category, are over budget by about $600,000. When you get to the expenditure category, we're not to the point where we're at the end of the year. It shows that they're under budget right now by 2.6 million, but that's going to be spent by the Board of Ed and the town. The Board of Ed is going to be spending all their forecasting, except for 125,000. That's their return after they request a transfer to the non-lapsing of 150,000. And we think the town will give back 50,000. So now I'm working down the numbers to get to the operating surplus, which gets added to the fund balance. So revenues over budget by 600,000 plus 50,000 from the town, 125,000 from the school. That's 175,000 added to the 600,000. So now we have an excess of revenue over expense of 775,000. So here's the math. Subtract 490,000, which was the assigned fund balance, by design that we thought we were gonna apply, subtract that, and you get 285,000. So that is what I think is gonna be the operating surplus. Or anyway, now you kind of know how you get the operating surplus. So go back to where we started the year, 2.5 million. Add the 490,000. You don't need it because your revenues were higher, so you didn't need to pull it from fund balance to balance your budget. Add the operating surplus, 285,000. Brings you to 3.2 million. Subtract 1 million that we're going to, by design, apply to the FY '24 budget, and your ending fund balance is about projected 2.2 million. So, any questions on how, on the information on the report through May?
And Donna, 2.2 million is approximately 10% of,
10-11%, yeah.
okay,
We're shooting 8 to 12, right?
Our policy is 8 to 12.
Get 10%. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to updates from BOF representatives, and that's Christina Miles.
yes.
Oh,
So I just have a CIP update for everyone. So what I did is I asked all the, I just looked at the CIP report from last year. So the one that we approved in April of 2022, which was to be, it just at year one, of what was to be done in this past fiscal year, including this June. And just like wanted to find out how everything is doing, and which things need to get bumped into next fiscal year. And I'll just give you a little summary where we're at with all the things. So the first department was Public Works. They were allocated money for a dump truck. It has been purchased. It should be delivered sometime in August. The excavator has been purchased and it's already been in use and on jobs around town. The pavement management software purchase has been completed and they're still working on the final draft, but the CIP committee will, I think, be seeing a report from whatever this generates. So I think we'll all be seeing that Board of Finance, so sometime in budget season is my guess. The Village Hill Drainage Phase 2, that was a plan to do with a grant, which apparently has not come through. But Troy did say that Public Works will start the beginning stages of pipe installation and basin install, regardless. And then Schofield Road Drainage Phase 1, what is still being designed by the data group, and they should have that finished up in the next couple of months. And then replacing of the director's truck, which was actually approved in the year prior CIP plan. So that one actually is behind a whole year at this point and was not approved yet at town meeting. So they're still trying to figure out what to do. He said they're looking for a pickup with what money is allocated because the Tahoe was voted down. And that was basically everything that we had thought would happen in this fiscal year over a whole year ago. So in Public Works, so for the fire departments, Chief Moore let me know about the new ambulance, which we've heard about a bit. They've been looking for that and price out the cost to remount the ambulance on a new chassis. So that one, you've been telling us about that.
Yeah,
That's,
we're still trying to figure out the price of a chassis.
yeah. And then the fire station engineering, they met with the engineer and produced a scope of work to be completed. And unfortunately, with the inflation, the cost to complete all engineering drawings has increased almost $40,000 in what was anticipated. So they're still continuing to work with the engineering team to get the scope of work within budget. And the apron project in the garage was put on hold because of the current situation.
We had it all lined up, ready to go and the current status.
Yeah,
Doesn't make sense.
Status change dramatic.
and all of those things are coming out of Fund 17. So this money's just gonna stay in Fund 17 until it gets used. And then Wellington Hill, their first response vehicle, they're still waiting for the town to release the funding, which is, we had planned for it to be a lease, so I'm not really sure what the holdup is, but,
Donna, can you tell us anything about that?
The RFP is prepped and ready to go after the Board of Selectmen meeting this coming Tuesday to approve the new vendor and new price for the vehicle.
yeah, and there doesn't need to be a town meeting for that, right?
There does not.
Because it's a lease. Yeah, and the refurbishment of the 1991 engine tank is nearing completion. The truck's currently having the final lighting package installed, and they anticipate for it to be finished any day. It's just been prolonged because of supply chain issues. So those were the two projects from there. And then the Board of Ed had two projects, the sidewalk at Center School and a sidewalk at Hall Memorial School, and it was just a town meeting where those funds were released. So I think we can assume that those projects are happening this summer. Other than that, I just wanted to let everybody know, we're gonna try to have several facility tours starting in September. Tried it last year, and we tried to do too many in the same night, I think. So this time around, I'm gonna try to do it, but just like fire departments one night, maybe the library and the town office building one night, because those are two pretty easy buildings to look at. But so people can watch the calendar, and if there's a facility and specifically that they want to see, they can try and come that night. But we're gonna aim for Wednesday evenings, early enough that we still have daylight for most of the things just that are outside. So that is it. Thank you.
Can I just ask one quick thing?
Mhm.
Just as a recommendation, if possible, for when you guys go out to do the tours, maybe invite the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance to come along as well.
Yeah,
I don't think all the Board of Finance have been down to Firehouse or all the Board of Selectmen. I think it would be good, at least on the emergency services side, we'd like to show
Yeah.
many people what we have, or, what we do
yeah,
in the buildings that we have.
that's a good idea. Maybe we'll do like try to advertise it. A big field trip.
Yeah. So you don't want to repeat it 3 times? Is that what you're saying?
We don't mind.
It's a good thing, it is a good thing for everybody to actually see what's.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You kind of go, as your, just an assumption that, yeah, you live here and but
But
You really don't.
it's the cook's tour, so there's more detail.
Yeah, and everyone has the opportunity to ask questions as you're looking right at things, so it is really good. It is. And then the only other thing I would say is, as of July 1st, we start the next fiscal year, which is where the CIP plan that we approved last month 6 weeks ago, whenever that was, that's when that spending can happen. So typically, what we try to do is we'll encourage all the people who have projects that are funded to start the process of doing whatever they have to do, because each of these projects are funded through different funding mechanisms. Some require town meetings, some require Board of Selectmen approval, some require Board of Finance approval. So everyone should realize that and start moving forward. So that's it. And ARPA, there's not much to say about that, other than we had to cancel the last several meetings because we're waiting for projects to close so that the money that we know is coming back to the town is available, so that we can reallocate it to something else, but we can't approve those other projects until we have the funds freed up to do it. So I had told everyone to try for Monday June 19th, but then realized the town office building is closed. So we're gonna try for the Monday after that to have a meeting, and even if we don't have funds available to allocate, there's a couple things that we can do, which is just maybe do some reviewing of some of the expenditures that have happened. Particularly the break program was one thing I had asked for EDC to come and talk about, and just, you know, see where we're at with things in more detail. So stay tuned for when that will be.
Moving on. New business, end of year fiscal year 23. Transfers of unspent funds. First one, we have a Board of Assessment Appeals legal notice cost. Whopping $160.
Yes. The cost of the legal notice exceeded the budget. And we can't end the year in a negative in the department. So that's the reason for the request.
All right, I'd like to move that we transfer $160, $168 from 1.1.0134 assessor to 1.1.0135 Board of Assessment Appeals.
Second,
Discussion.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
You can vote now.
Aye.
Yes.
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 Yeah, this is my understanding. Sure. So I'll make a motion to transfer $12,991 from 01.1.0171 planning and zoning to 01.0.004 transfer of PQC document preservation to 03.1.3090.
Aye.
Make a motion to transfer $850 from 01.1.0172 zoning board of appeals to 01.0.004 transfers out PQC document preservation 03.1.3094. Second. Aye. Yes.
Yes.
To 01.0.04 transfers out PQC document preservation 03.1.309.309. Second. Aye.
Aye.
And last but not least for this, I'll make a motion to transfer $2,081 from 01.1.0241 building department to 01.0.004 transfers out PZC document preservation 03.1.3090.
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
Transfer request for bonuses for 3 elected officials. Erica's here.
Aye.
Hi, Erica.
Hi. So I believe Steph shared my communication with you all. This,
Should we do the motion first?
We'll policies, just to,
Explanation by request.
that'd be nice.
Yeah, okay, so, back in, spring of 2021, when before the ARPA was a request for, a similar, proposal for regular staff of the town, the Board of Selectmen, said if we had leftover funds, albeit that fiscal year, we didn't anticipate it would be, many months later before a decision was made. We made a motion to, if there were funds left over, to ask for the same compensation, bonus compensation, one time to 3 elected officials, 2 registrar voters and our town treasurer. They are specifically, elected officials were specifically excluded from using ARPA dollars, which is why they weren't included there. The bonus program through ARPA for town employees was passed at town meeting within this fiscal year. So at the end of now this fiscal year with funds anticipated, certainly more than enough to cover the small amount, we would ask that you make a transfer from the selectmen and revenue collectors budget into the budgets of those elected officials.
There was an election, in-person election during that cycle.
Oh, yes.
wasn't there, no?
Yeah.
Oh, there was, in August of 2020, there was presidential primary that had been pushed off from April, I believe, and then the presidential election was a tremendous undertaking by our registrars and could not be worked from home. They did not have the luxury, neither did, most of our town employees, so they certainly put themselves in the line of fire, so to speak.
Erica, do you know of any other towns that have given bonuses to elected officials?
Don't. I do not.
I'm just wondering why, so ARPA went the extra mile to be specific that they were excluded, and I'm wondering if there's a reason why, aside from the fact that it's political, there's a reason legally why we might not want to do that.
I think there was a reason why we wouldn't want to use those funds and why we didn't, and why I'm asking to use, surplus funds within the budget, certainly. To this board, whether or not you allow me to transfer, but, I mean, it was very clear with the ARPA budget that we could not. I don't know their reasoning for that, whether it was simply political.
Yeah,
And through our conversations, there was no consideration for, so.
I'll make a motion just to get it out there. I'll make a motion to transfer $4,000 from 011011 selectmen to 011012 election officials for the yeah,
Second.
Put it together.
You can make you certainly can make the motion however you'd like, you can make it together, they're transferring from 2 different departments to 2 different departments, but
Well, yeah, as long as you word it.
that's correct, you can make the motion however you like.
where someone wants to give the funds to the registration of the treasurer.
We're made it a second.
Yeah, it's already made a second.
Yeah.
Second.
Steph.
I've seen if I could in many towns, certainly large municipalities, their treasurer is not necessarily an elected official, nor do they do the same work that we do in a smaller.
Right.
More discussion.
Yeah, I think I'm in favor of supporting this. Or I was very much in favor of supporting this until Christina brought up the legal issues.
Well,
Just because of their exposure during the, for very much the same reason that the volunteer firefighters were cut out of the ARPA funds for whatever unknown reason. I think that their exposure was tremendous during this and their exposure to the virus, to the patients who actually were sick. And for the same reason, I think I'm supporting it for the election officials.
Well, I would agree for that reason, and the other thing is, the reason to not give elected officials bonuses is obvious, because it's political. In this case, these two people are both representing both political parties, so it's not like you're favoring one political party over the other. It's not a political favor that's happening. It's going both ways, so I don't have a problem with that.
I would add to that, I agree with that. But I would add to that, I think a pandemic, in my experience, is a unique issue that is sort of a time when you look at, does everything in the rule book need to follow it? Because it's so unique and so unusual as far as its volume and its impact. And it's a new impact, it was a new impact. And I felt like you know, talking, we had to change the polling place for those elections that Erica was citing. And I remember thinking that they are kind of sitting in this room, staffing this room for a 12-hour polling day at a time when there's a pandemic. And so I just felt like the risk that they took to do that was considerable, so.
On board with this, I just, with the, clarify that this is, a unique circumstance, obviously, and not opening up a long-term can of worms, it's kind of a one and done, special accommodation, so.
We don't have to worry about setting a precedent exactly here.
Was on the neck.
Yes.
All right. We good?
Yeah, you bright
Aye.
star.
Let's go.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Carries.
So,
Oh,
Entertain a motion to transfer $2,000 from 01.1.0137 revenue collector to 01.1.0132 treasurer.
second,
Discussion.
Is this a situation like the election officials and the treasurer was exposed to the public at all? Or was during that time when there was work from home and the building was closed and?
So I will say that our building was closed for a very short period of time. And the treasurer did work both at home and here, as did the rest of our staff. Less, about the same impact to the public as the rest of our finance office was. Certainly not the same impact as other offices, tax collector, county clerk. But certainly had incredible change in work conditions during this period of time. And again, that all of the individuals who are being considered for this one-time bonus had to work during a particular portion of the pandemic. And our treasurer did, and our treasurer actually stepped up during that time.
Erica, were there any parts of the staff that didn't qualify for a bonus?
Just these.
Okay.
Stephanie, actually, by the time the bonus was voted upon, there were some new staff members who didn't qualify because they weren't here, they didn't come on
understand
afterwards,
that,
but
yeah.
that's it. Anyone who was here during the original outlay period of time was considered and did receive.
Thanks.
Anything else? So.
Come back to
Yes.
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 Joe?
Yes.
yes.
All right, pandemic bonuses for volunteer firefighters.
Jeff. I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that for the record that I'm recusing myself from the discussion and vote on this one. Thanks.
Well, the hell one. Back in January, I know Chief Snyder came to us. This is forwarded to us again. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reiterate the fact that, volunteers were left out of the ARPA, because they were volunteers, they weren't town paid, or they weren't town paid staff, which have, were granted it. I think it's important, especially for morale and retention. I mean, typically volunteers are no cost or little cost to the town, but, I mean, even though they didn't ride the ambulance specifically, they were still frontline with, the ambulance personnel. They were on scene, people's houses, car accidents and whatnot, so there wasn't much other than being directly in the ambulance that we did not face along with the paid staff. So,
Right, given that, I'd like to move that we consider, that we transfer $3,000 from 01.1.0851 insurance to 01.0.004 transfer out, Wellington Fire Department 1. We'll do, you want to do both? And an additional transfer of $13,000 from 01.1.0831 employees' health insurance to 01.0.004 transfer out Wellington Hill Fire Department.
Total $16,000.
Can I just, for the record, just make one?
Sure.
Because there is some confusion. It was EMS personnel only that are getting this. They have to be medically certified. Be going to medical calls and stuff like that. We did not do, if you're just a regular firefighter.
So I'm, based on the numbers here, I'm assuming there's 13 of them from the Hill and 3 of them from one.
Yeah, we had some more on there from Wellington 1, but they're not active anymore, or they switched roles.
Got it.
So we did not want to.
I understand.
Jeff, was there a second?
I'll second that. For discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped in my fault.
So, and I just want to clarify, that regardless of which station these people are volunteers at, it's $1,000 no matter what.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
It was a joint project that Chief Snyder.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's vote.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Two stats of the FD #1 mold issue and costs.
So we finally got the last quote late today. And I was hoping to get it over to Stephanie beforehand, but it literally came in at 4 o'clock, so. So the right part is we are able to get it down lower. The last quote came in at $25,133. They were hoping to be around 20,000. Their verbal was that it would be hopefully between 15 and 20. By the time they actually get everything in the calculator, it came up to 25. For the same amount of scope of work as the first company, we did have a third vendor that came out and looked through the building, but completely wanted to change what the other 2 companies had said we needed to do. And said, oh no, we're just gonna do this. And they're like, we'll do it for $7,000. I'm like, well, can you give me something ready? Well, no, because if it has to change, I'm like, no. So we have 2 hard quotes. We're gonna bring ServPro out of Bloomfield to the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday as our recommendation for the department, so that we can get it done. It will be a little higher with that than that because of plumbing and the air conditioners that have to come off the wall. So our plan right now is we're gonna be around $30,000 total, with hope of that the leftover money we can use for engineering, trying to figure out what the next step is. We do have a contractor that both fire departments have used quite a bit, coming out on Tuesday, early evening, just to go through the building and start kind of working as our general contractor, what our next step should be. Somebody that both fire departments trust, at least to point us in the right direction.
Somebody refresh me on what the motion we had last meeting was. I know it's less, this quote is less.
It is less, 37 total, because it was 30, just under 33, and there was a 5% contingency.
Did we,
Up to, yeah, up to 37.
did we stipulate it for specific to the mold remediation efforts only?
No,
Okay.
no. So it was an up to motion, so it should be covered, right?
No, I think I'm
Yeah.
more worried about if there's leftover funds. Like, I'm asking a question as to what, whether leftover funds come back or can be used, or what the case may be. Other than,
I would you have my word that if it's not related to the mold, or course, like the Board of Finance are gonna know who the contractors are before it's spent.
And then the other thing, only because we talked before this meeting, you mentioned that there's, they're gonna take rather than just go in there like a wrecking ball and got everything out, they're gonna cautiously go in and
Go to where they have to.
evaluate scope, if it's less severe than anticipated, and it doesn't require a full guy. Hey, you can always hope. I'm trying to be optimistic. here.
Boy, that is some kind of optimistic.
They know at least 3 rooms that where the levels are, that those 3 rooms, they're gonna be completely, just because just to be on the safe side.
Yep. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes that's easier. Excellent. Good. See, we're getting doing this, right?
So we don't have to do anything?
And at any time, if anybody has any questions, wants to know anything, please by all means reach out.
Thanks. Correspondence, we got the letter from Erica.
Thing you already had.
Sam,
Oh,
you guys have all.
We got a tearful letter from Samantha. I guess you saw both of our mutual responses.
Let's say wish her luck on her Board of Ed position. So,
Region 19, yeah.
yeah, Region 19.
Yeah, I like this, Sam was great. I enjoyed having her here. She was very competent, she did very well. And I will say that she did, I think she left it in a very good position. And she was nice enough to forward her template and some nice notes on, how the secretary has to work. That was good. Be present to speak one more time. Anybody online? Speak now for please.
Small crew tonight.
GNW, I said everything I wanted to say about Samantha.
move to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta give somebody a chance to speak.
Congrats to the center school graduates.
Yeah.
Middle school graduates too. Sorry,
Do you have
you don't have one there yet.
It was a great ceremony.
Was it good?
I may have been on one side of the room, the oldest under a banner.
What did she say?
And myself now.
That's why you gotta convince John Blessing to show up, but she's the
I
only
mean,
one on
there's
that side of
always
the room.
somebody down in the 40s, the
Yeah.
50s, the 80s was the oldest on my side of the
So they
room.
do still do that, okay.
They did not sing the alma mater, they just recognized and
Wow.
stood under a banner. There were a lot
What's
of,
up with that?
I know.
What are they?
Jeez, they're eroding our
I know.
positions.
Everyone should get to see it once a year. So it was a beautiful, it was a great ceremony. So
Any highlights? Any
any highlights,
breaking news?
the principal, Mary Kate Tishonas, really, she spoke eloquently about this class and clearly they meant a lot to the staff. She and others choked up a little bit when speaking about them. And they started what I hope becomes a new tradition of including a note from a different staff member and the principal inside their certificate when they got them. So, yeah, as always, you do a really nice job sending our 8th graders out of Wellington and on to their next chapter.
Do they still do the time capsules?
That I'm not sure, it's not part of that ceremony, but, you know, when you're thinking about how to spend your money at AC and there would be nice for Christmas, there's no air,
You get to hold that.
a lot.
Peter, move to adjourn? So moved. Second? All in favor?
Yeah.
Bye. Under down.
Who's getting the,
And my partner.
You guys, did you see the snow budget fighting thing? I can.
Your secretary.
But I just did it as information.
Yeah.
Christina.
I think we just
And I want to read about it. And so John put that together. I know.
Like it is
Bring it
interesting
up.
though, like it's really.
The guy that Tom
Every year.
recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to the next year that said not.
except for that one year, which was.
Yeah.
So
Last year.
scroll down, scroll
Yeah.
down.
Last year,
No, I
up
didn't
60.
get him to the next class. I'm pretty sure we talked at some point.
All right.
Yeah, well,